Hi everybody, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be looking at the Meiji F410. Now I've got the LPH400 or W400, whichever you want to call it out, because it actually looks very similar, as you can see. But they are really different. Well, I say really different, they are quite different. So we're just going to have a quick look at these two. There's going to be plenty of spraying in this video, which is a bit later if you want to forward it on. I imagine this will go on for about 5 minutes maximum. But there's a discount code I've got to announce as well. So I'll get to say that in a minute as well. But if you can see the Meiji one, that's the Iwata one. That's the Meiji one. It actually, to me, it looks better made. It's not just a chrome finish. It's a really nice machined chrome finish, and if you look inside, to me it actually looks better made. Looks like a Devilbis actually inside. So I would say, as with most Meiji stuff, it's actually better made. Now you can see that they differ quite heavily as far as the inside goes. A lot bigger tip on the F410. It's a full-size gun, top cut full-size gun. So I'll just pop this out so that you can see what it's like inside. But what I was going to say is we've got a discount code from Painting Tools Japan. Now I bought this from Painting Tools Japan. I buy quite a lot of stuff from Painting Tools Japan. I do pay for it, so it's not a freebie or anything like that. I do pay for it. And he suggests maybe we could offer you guys a discount code. There's nothing in it for me, it is purely for you. And as far as I understand it, it's going to be 7%, and it will run until the end of September, and it will be on the eBay US site for Painting Tools Japan. So I'll put a link in the description of the eBay shop you need to go to, and I'll also put the actual code, which is Pete's Hobbies. It's all one word, just Pete's Hobbies, and that should get you a 7% discount until the end of September. Okay, so it's only valid to the end of September. So let's have a quick look at these, which is what I was going to try and do. You can see the tip is quite different. I'm going to pull that back just to save time, really. You should normally take the needle out, but I'm going to pull that back. With the Iwata, you simply have the normal tip that we've all become accustomed to. This has got a split tip because it's an LPH. But with this one, it is quite different. So it's not like an Iwata copy. It's a genuinely different, completely differently machined gun. They have a baffle. It's not actually a sealing baffle as far as I can see. If it is, it's really good machining. So I think it literally just, again, seals on that. You can see that small taper there, which sits in the body of the gun. But you can see there that the guns are actually quite different. Quite different. So on the outside they look the same, but on the inside they're completely different. But I wanted to do an intro just to show you that, and to let you know about that discount thing with Painting Tools Japan. Okay guys, so we'll go and have a look, see what this little thing does. So one of the things you'll notice if you try and look up a Meiji F410 is that there'll be loads and loads of different specs. There's lots of tip sizes depending what cap you go for. So they do a HVLP cap, an EVW and an EV. Now obviously I know HVLP. I don't know exactly what the other caps do, but they range in sizes from 1.0 to 2.5. So some of them are going to be more suited to primer, etc. But the cap we've got here is what they call the SP cap, and that's generally recognised to be more of a automotive finish cap, which is why I chose it effectively. They do this in 1.3 and 1.4. I chose 1.4 because I tend to like something that's a bit faster. The differences between the two as far as output goes, the 1.3 they quote 155 millilitres per minute. That's at 2 bar. And then 1.4, which is this one here, 1.75 millilitres. So it's what is it percentage wise, about 12% difference, 12% more. I presume it would be noticeable. I haven't got a 1.3, so I can't say for sure whether it would be noticeable, but I'm sure you would notice something like that. But as I say, I wanted a quicker gun. Now you'll see me when I start doing the spraying, you'll see me try and get two. I don't try and get two different patterns, I get two different patterns, and that's because I was trying different pressures. The recommended pressure for this gun is 2, and I was going to say people contact me. I think I put something on Instagram, and people said to me about, oh, it likes its pressure, something like that. It was something put it in my head that to try it on higher pressure. So I thought, well, I'll try it on 2.2 bar, which is what the first setup is, and it is too much. I found it too much. I mean, it's a high solids clear. I found it just too much, so I've settled since then on 2 bar, and it seems to work absolutely fine at 2 bar. You saw at the start of the, I was going to say start of the program then, you saw at the start of the video that they look very, very similar to the Iwata, and it doesn't spray hugely dissimilar either really. It actually sprays very, very well, but so does the Iwata, the W400s and the Kiwami 4s. They are really good value for money spray guns, and that's another thing with this thing. It's a really good value for money spray gun. I actually bought this about a year and 3 months ago, believe it or not, and I've had this video tucked away, but I haven't used it much, so I wanted to get a bit more time using it. This video is probably only the second time I've used it, but I've used it more since then. But it just goes to show you don't need to spend loads of money to get a good gun. I can't remember exactly how much this was, but I think it was around about 160 GB pounds delivered. I think it was somewhere around there. And when you look at something like this, it's a really good do-it-all gun. It does base coat well, it will do clear coat well, and you do think to yourself sometimes, why do you need to spend more money? I think it's, as I said at the start, I think it's actually seems better made than the Iwata, although there isn't a lot in it. I haven't used it loads, so I can't say, oh yeah, it lasts for years, because I just don't know. But I would be very surprised if something went wrong with it, you know, in a short space of time. So I think you'd be do reasonably well to get one of these things if you want a good do-it-all branded spray gun. You know, not something like the R500. I've done a few videos on the R500, and they actually perform quite well. The feedback to the painter isn't particularly good, and as someone who likes tools, I do tend to prefer something that's just slightly better, I suppose. Yeah, that sounds snobby actually. I'm not snobby at all. Just something that I can take a bit more pride in owning, if that makes sense. And this would fit the bill admirably. So yeah, I would highly recommend it to somebody. Don't forget, if you're sketching through this video, hopefully you would have heard at the start that there is a discount code available, and it's on the Painting Tools Japan website. I'll say it again just in case people miss it, but it's on their eBay US site. Now, you don't have to be in the US to actually buy from that site. Anybody can use it. So as I say, I'll put in the description the discount code, which is Pete's Hobbies. It's all one word, and it's all in capitals. So from start to finish, just complete capitals. As I say, I'll put it in the description how it's actually supposed to be written, and I'll put a link to the eBay US website of theirs. eBay US website of theirs, so that you can browse through there, and if you want to buy something, you can do. It's a 7% discount, as I said before, and it lasts to the end of September 2023. And as I did say, I will reiterate it just in case some people think, oh, you know, he's making money out of it. It's nothing to do with me as far as me getting a return goes. It's not intended for that. It's just intended for him, I think, to show a little bit of thanks towards me, because I've used his company, and people have found his company by watching my videos. That's what I think it's all about. Anyway, so as I say, I'll put all the stuff in the description. So actually using this gun, as you'll see now, as I said, I used it at 2.2 bar, which is about 33 psi, and I can't remember, I thought it was on Instagram. I put a message on Instagram, a photo on Instagram of this. I think that's where it come from, maybe in Facebook, I can't remember, but I got a couple of messages back, people saying, oh, it likes its pressure. So I thought, okay, well, I'll have a little go at playing with it, and you can see what it does. And you get a colossal fan at 2.2 bar, 33 psi, and I just found it actually made the clear coat a little bit dry. So I would guess it depends on conditions and the clear coat you're using as well. But in the second coat, I settled on 2 bar, and I found that absolutely perfect. It's a really nice gun to use. It's not, the build quality isn't quite as good as the new Meijis. The finer core and the finer force are definitely a slight step up from this, and they're a slight step up from everybody else as well, because anybody I've recommended those guns to that's got them have come back to me and said, you know, they really are nicely made. But as I said, I would put this above the Iwata as far as being made goes. But as far as performance, now you can see the size of the fan there. As far as performance goes, I can't really split the two. This is, as I said, it's a good all-round gun, so it's just as good for base coat as it is for clear coat. Quite easy to use, very easy to use really, as long as you don't try and go too low on pressure or too high on pressure. I had different settings. For the base coat I used it at 2 out, full fluid is about 4 out, and another thing people have said to me, which I will go through, is people have said, what do you mean by full fluid? And all I do is I put which seems to be the opposite to what a lot of people do, but I put the needle all the way in, so your adjuster at the back, turn it all the way in until it stops and it can't go anymore, and then you turn it out 1 turn or 2 turns or whatever. And with the first coat of base coat it was 2 turns. I later changed that to 3 turns out because I wanted a bit more material out of it. But full fluid would be about 4.5 turns out. And somebody said to me, what do you mean by full fluid? And it's simply that. It means that when you're turning the small dial at the back, it obviously the needle pushes against that. When you push the needle in, when you pull the trigger, the needle pushes back and it hits the rear adjuster. That's what stops it going any further. And when you turn that adjuster counterclockwise, because it's coming out, it increases the distance, which allows the needle back further. So what I mean by 3.5 or 4.5 out, or in the case of the DeVille bits, I think it's 1 3/4 out. So it's not, universal. You're going from no fluid to full fluid. So if you pull the trigger in, if you can't feel any more movement in the trigger going back when you're undoing the adjuster at the rear, then you've reached full fluid, because that needle can't go back any further, so it can't create a bigger gap between the needle and the tip to allow more material through. So that's all I mean. If I say full fluid, it means that needle's not going back any further. And that's how I find the settings when I say, full fluid is 4.5 turns out. It just means that over that, it will obviously go round and round until eventually it pops off and the needle comes out. But it's going round and round. It makes no difference to the delivery of material. Anyway, here's the finished article, and it looked really, really good. I wouldn't say to you, oh, it's an absolutely brilliant gun, but when you consider it is a proper named gun, very well made, at the sort of price point it is, then you can't really go wrong with it. It's a really, really good gun. Anyway guys, thanks for watching as always. Cheers, bye bye.